what's up, friends? Hold on, let me lower the gain so there's not as much background noise. That should be a little bit better. But, yeah, what's up, friends? We got more SPL action, Gen 5 OU this time. We got, Evuelf, I don't know how to fucking pronounce his name, versus Leftiez. So, Leftiez has, made a bit of a name for himself recently. I think in Smogon too, where I think he had a pretty solid World Cup. But he's playing black-white OU. But all the background stuff I don't think really matters too much in this match. You're just playing black-white. Evuelf. Again, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. That's what I'm guessing the name is. It's bringing a fairly standard weatherless team for the current black-white meta guy. Reuniclus, who's arguably the best mon right now, has a bunch of potential rockers, and Lando. I don't think Lando's going to be the rocker because you have Chomp and Heatran. And Lando, like, it's SD set and it's double Dan set, and black white is so threatening right now. And then just Rotom, we all know what Rotom does, and then Latios, we all know what Latios does. It KOs everything. But that's his team. I like the way his team looks. Lefty's team, on the other hand, I don't really like how it looks. Looks like he's trying to use the Sand Balance plus Spike Stack for an Alakazam sweep. But let's take a look at his Volcarona checks right here. His Volcarona counters. Not too existent. And then I feel like that Tar has to be choice banded because otherwise CM Reuniclus just takes a shit on his team. I wonder what type of Gastrodon that is. I don't know, but I don't really know what Xatu does on his team because, I mean, obviously, if his Volcarona counter is actually Dugtrio, then he wants to keep the hazards off the field to keep a Dugtrio Focus Sash intact. But I don't know, because the thing with Xatu is that keeping hazards off is really all that you need. But this is just my opinion, but I feel like in that move slot, you could probably put an actual Volcarona counter or try and actually work one on your team instead of trying to deal with this like gimmicky hazard stuff. If that's your plan, because I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of Xatu. And then who does he have to switch in? A Mixed Chomp. Well, there's not very many switches in a Mixed Chomp, so it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, like Mixed Chomp plus Latios plus Reuniclus is really difficult for Lefties to deal with. Because I feel like Lefties he's trying way too hard for like a specific counter team rather than try and get something good together. But that's besides the point, so let's go ahead. Get right in. So we got Lando from Evuelf versus Lefties. He's going to lead Gastrodon. I forgot to point that out. Gastrodon straight up beats everything on Evuelf's team if it's Curse. And if it's not Curse, Gastrodon is still a huge pain. So Gastrodon is going to be very important for Lefties. Especially if it's Curse, then it pretty much is going to be his win con. So I guess Lefties predicts U-turn or EQ. And now Lando has to take that Rocky Helmet damage, but now Latios gets a free switch. Maybe goes to Rotom. Goes Garchomp. Not too sure how I feel about that one. I guess it works out though, because Lefties can't really, like I said, Lefties can't really switch in to deal with it effectively. He has Gastrodon though, and we'll see how much Gastrodon takes from the Draco, and this is mixed. Fortunately, we don't get to find out. Because it misses, so Garchomp probably has to switch out of here, not wanting to take a potential Ice Beam. Either way, Scald isn't going to be... Oh my god, I can't talk. Scald isn't going to be fine for Garchomp either. So Lefty's probably just Scalds right here. Or if he has Ice Beam, then he goes for that. But he does go for Scald. Rotom comes in. No burn for the Rotom. This actually turns out to be good for Lefties, because he's going to turn out, as we'll see in a moment, to be Toxic Gastrodon. And Gastrodon will take that burn all day long. I mean, obviously, it's not going to appreciate it because that's a little bit of residual damage, but it would rather take that burn than maybe something like a toxic from Heatran, or he doesn't have anything that could put it to sleep, and he can't be paralyzed. So yeah, he would rather have that than something like a toxic from Heatran. Plus, now that he has the toxic on Rotom, Lefties can literally just stay in here and click Scald, and then burn whatever Evuelf wants to switch out into, or potentially burn it. Because Rotom, I mean, in theory, it could stay in here, maybe try and do some paint split stuff, but it's on a timer with Toxic, and it can't stay in here forever. So Lefties definitely has the upper hand here, and yeah, Evuelf realizes this, he's just going to switch out. I think he just went for the Volt Switch one time in case Lefties wanted to switch out, but like I said, Lefties had no reason to switch up. Brings in Latios, risking Scald Burn, but I don't really think that's too big of a deal. The threat of Scald Burn because it is Latios. Ooh, and Lefties makes a strong prediction right here. Goes to Tyranitar. Reuniclus was also a potential switch in if you wanted to avoid Scald Burn, but Latios works just as well. But Lefties with a strong prediction right there, predicting one of the two sidekicks, and we do see that this Tyranitar is pretty bulky. Maybe something like Choice Band, like I mentioned earlier. Maybe it's rocker variants. It depends on whether or not the Doug Trio has rocks. But we know that Tyranitar is not scarfed, and now Latios is out of the way, which is really big for Lefties because Latios was a problem for his team. Latios is a problem for any team, so that's nothing too unusual, but Tyranitar is able to handle that correctly, or able to handle that well because Lefties made a strong play. So now Skarmory comes in trying to take a Draco or an EQ. EQ does go off, correct play from Evuelf because now Skarmory comes in, you can just go for Fire Blast and pick up a 2 KO. And yeah, the Fire Blast does go off. I feel like if you're going to stay in right there, you just roost. At the same time though, I don't really know what else Evuelf could have gone for, and I don't know how much Mixed Draco does to Xatu, because this looks to be Focus Sash or some, yeah, usually they're Focus Sash if they're not Life Orb, so that's what it looks like to me. So, and I'm guessing Garchomp probably has like Draco, EQ, Fire Blast, and then Rocks. So he lays down Spikes, which I guess is going to be good for Garchomp or for Heatran, but I don't really think those were major threats. Like the two things that you have to worry about if you're Lefties, in my opinion, are going to be Lando and Reuniclus. And both those don't get affected by Spikes, and now your primary answer of dealing with Landers just died for a layer of Spikes. So I'm not too sure I like that exchange. Maybe Lefties is thinking of something else, but like I said, I'm not too big a fan of it. Heatran comes in on the obvious Ice Shock, and Heatran's probably very special defensive, so it doesn't care about Focus Blast. And Lefties wants to keep his Sash intact. So now Gastrodon's going to come, and he goes to Lando right here. I felt like that Gastrodon, maybe he was predicting Doug Trio, or just scouting for it. So I understand that play. But I feel like Gastrodon was all around safer. But now Lando can just U-turn out. And then, I'm dying. And then he's either going to go to Garchomp or Reuniclus. He goes Garchomp right here. Yeah, because I think he can assume that there's no Ice Beam coming in. And since it is Mixed Chomp, it doesn't care as much about Scald as a regular Garchomp would. And now he has the potential to get up Stealth Rocks right here. The rocks still might be on Heatran, but I'm feeling like they're going to be on Garchomp because we're not seeing any Life Orb recoil, but who knows. We don't see any rocks go up, though. So either Evuelf is playing very conservative around these Zatus, and Lefties is making some strong mind game plays, not switching the Xatu in, predicting Evuelf to not attack, or something else is going on. But yeah, Evuelf is just going to stick with this EQ game. What does Gastrodon do? Is it just going to fire off a Scald, or it's just going to keep recovering? And then do we see Xatu come in anytime soon, or maybe Lefties knows this team and he knows that the rocks are going to be on Heatran, so who knows, man? Who knows? But no, they're not going to switch out. Garchomp's just going to keep firing off EQs. I don't think Garchomp has any reason to switch out. We see a crit Scald, no burn though. but that's definitely going to suck for Evuelf because that just means it takes less Scalds to KO the Garchomp. I think Evuelf is trying to get it into Draco range. Or maybe it's like Dragon Gem with Draco Meteor or something and it's not Sash. I don't know. Zam comes in though. I don't know why he's not going out to Xatu. Unless I'm completely missing something, which I feel like I am. I mean, Xatu probably dies or takes a butt ton from Draco. So that's probably why he wants to keep Xatu's health high. Maybe it's an Earthquake immunity, but risky getting rid of your Sash, man. I feel like, if anything, you should have just traded Zam Sash for getting damage on. Well, actually, it's Scarf Lando, and Lando just U-turn, so no, that's not a good play. But now Zam is down to its Sash. I believe Heatran is in Focus Blast range from Sash Zam, so maybe we see Protect right here. Maybe we see a Switch. We see Switch from Leftiez, though, so maybe I'm incorrect about that. I'm pretty sure... Doesn't it do, like, 4 minimum or something? Or it goes to Dugtrio right here. Maybe on a Protect. But Heatran just decides to Earth Power. And if the Dugtrio is Focus Sash, which I think it is, because of the Xatu being there, that's not good for Lefties losing Sash on Dugtrio. It's another potential answer to Lando maybe gone. And by potential answer, I mean like a Memento. But we see EQ there. Heatran is able to go down. So now that frees up the lane for Zam a little bit. But Landorus is still here just kicking. I mean, if Gastrodon is at high health, it shouldn't really matter. But I don't know if he can handle Lando plus Mix Garchomp. And then, because he needs T-Tar to handle Reuniclus, without a doubt. So I don't know if he can handle Lando and Garchomp at this point. Now he predicts the U-turn. Goes into Xatu smartly. Just get more Rocky Helmet on Lando, get a little bit more damage. However, if it wasn't in range of Draco before, now it definitely is. And we also saw Draco go off, so my Dragon Gem idea is completely incorrect. I don't even think that's a good set, but just bring it up for the sake of bringing it up. I'm going to assume that this Garchomp is Focus Sash. So now the switch goes out. Do we see Dugtrio switch? That's what I would assume. Yeah, Dougie. I don't know. Do you really need Xatu that badly? And then, ooh, talk about making plays. The rocks do go up. Yeah, I don't know if the rocks really mattered, though. So maybe... I think that worked out better for Lefties because I don't think that the rocks hurt his remaining team that much because Xatu isn't doing that much. And the rest of his team isn't bothered by rocks. So just losing Garchomp like that. I was going to say sack Xatu. So if the rocks randomly decide to go up, they don't go up. And then revenge with Dugtrio. But at the same time, though, that also means that Lando can just click EQ on your team. And because your Focus Sash on Zam is broken. I don't understand that Scarm replay, dude. Because I feel like you should definitely have expected Fire Blast. Maybe he doesn't have anything on his team that wants to take that, which I can definitely understand, but I feel like Lando plus Garchomp was definitely the biggest threats at that point in time, especially because Latios went down, I believe, by that point in time. Even then, Skarmory is still good for handling Latios. I mean, it's a Fizdef Skarm, probably. I'm pretty sure Fire Blast to Spadef Skarm only does like 50 or 60. And that nearly KO'd it, did like 85. So I'm pretty sure it's Fizdef Skarm. But that's even better for handling Lando. So, I don't know, Lefties. That play was probably like the big question mark for me was just sacking Skarm for layer spikes when, at least in my opinion, spikes didn't do that much for your team. So now Reuniclus is in here. Lefties has to go out to CB Tar as the CM probably goes up. Oh, this is Trick Room Reuniclus. Okay, if this Focus Blast hits right here, I think Evuelf just wins the game. Oh, and it's Choppletar, not CB. Okay. I probably should have been able to judge that from the damage. Actually, what damage did it do? It just KO'd Latios. Never mind. But Focus Mist's always in my heart, so... the Focus Blast is able to hit, though, at that range. The Chapel Berry doesn't even matter. And I think Reuniclus just wins. Psychic, yeah, that's a 2-hit KO on Gashardon, and with the burn, Gashardon's not doing too much. So maybe a stroke of luck happens and Gashardon's able to win RPY 256. I doubt it though. So yeah, I think. Oh, that just KO. Is that a high roll? Who knows? But yeah, I think Reuniclus just wins at this point. Maybe he's trying to hope for like a Zam crit, but even then, Scarfalando should handle the situation. Who's his rocker on his team? I guess it's T-Tar because it had Chopple. I don't see why. Is Doug Trio not focused? Oh no, that's right. Doug Trio's not focused Sash. After this game, I think Lefty said that the Doug Trio was choice banded, and that's how he handled Reuniclus. Because I guess CB EQ from Doug Trio, maybe Oko's Volcaron after spikes or something. Or maybe just straight up Oko's. I don't know though. I don't really like Lefty's team that much. And then I feel like with Skarmory, he misplayed. Okay, Signal Beam Confusion. We're going to see the Confuse. I forgot that they were in Signal Beam in this gen because Celebi is actually a thing. But no, it doesn't confuse, and then Reuniclus is just able to win. So very well played from Evuelf. Like I said, I'm a fan of his team. And I felt like he played that really well, trying to set up for the Reuniclus, just weakening everything. And then getting Reuniclus in at the right time to set up Trick Room. Very well played on his end. Lefties, I'm not too sure about. Like I said, that Skarmory play is one that really sticks out to me. But I think even bigger than that is Lefty's team. Just his team just looks funny. Like I already talked about the lack of true Volcarona checks. Because I mean, even if you're not focused Sash, then like Volcarona sets up, and now you can't even rely on Sash Dougie to take a hit and then try and Stone Edge back. Like I don't know. And then Xatu, I don't think Xatu does anything for his team. And then this game, all Xatu literally did was just get Rocky Helmet damage off, which is usually what. Shut the fuck up. That's usually what Xatu does anyway. But still a solid game. You know, hope you all enjoyed. I gotta go leave for class now, so. That's gonna be it for now. Check the Twitter, do all that, and later, friends.